Well, to debate this further, I'm joined now from New Delhi by Sudhanshu Mittal. He is a senior member of India's ruling BJP. And in Washington, D.C., we have Salman Anees Soz. He is a member of the opposition Indian National Congress. Thanks both so much for joining us. I need to start by getting each of your opinions really on Article 35A that gives this special status to Jammu and Kashmir. Salman, let me ask you first. Is it time to scrap it and see Jammu and Kashmir subject to the same status as other Indian states?
Well, absolutely not. This abrogating this article is simply not possible because this is the legal basis by which citizenship rights were extended to the people of Jammu and Kashmir in 1954. This was the Delhi Agreement of 1952 predated this proclamation. Without this, you don't really have citizenship rights for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The entire legal edifice that has been created so that Jammu and Kashmir could become an integral part of India would basically be demolished. So I think the BJP and their parent body, the RSS, they have a very unitary kind of framework which they use for India. They think of India just in this, there's this one vision for India, and everybody has to comply with that. And I think what is remarkable about India is its great diversity. And I think that is what the Constitution is about, and that is what must be respected. I think they're playing with fire for petty politics, and I think everybody can see through it. And I'm pretty confident the Supreme Court is going to reject this bid.
Okay. Sudhanshu Mittal, I assume you're not on the same page.
Mr. Salman doesn't seem to have articulated the issue which is before the court. The issue before the court is 35A, which was incorporated in the Constitution, whether it was validly incorporated or not. You see, Indian Constitution has a provision called Article 368, which outlines as to how the Constitution can be amended. It says it can only be amended by the Parliament itself on a two-third majority in both the houses. Now, this Article 365, Article 35A was incorporated through a presidential order, which was passed on 14th May 1954. And it is this which is being questioned, whether the president had the authority to pass an order which amends the Constitution, because Constitution itself provides as to how the Constitution has to be amended. So this is a core issue. Mr. Salman is so obsessed with his own analogy that he will never argue the legality of it. And secondly, see, 35A only empowers the assembly of the Jammu and Kashmir to determine who will be a permanent resident of Jammu and Kashmir. 370 is where the entire power flows, and 370 mandate was incorporated in the Constitution, and the Constitution came into being in 1949, effective on 26 January 1950. So I would rather prefer that Mr. Salman brushes his knowledge of constitutional law as well as history before making such wild allegations about our intent. See, your intent has been dubious till now, Mr. Soz. You have taken a stand differently in Jammu and Kashmir and differently in New Delhi. So, I mean, let's debate the issue instead of calling each other names, because I don't think it is name calling that we are debating today.
Okay.
I have presented the legality of the proposition. Please answer the legality of the proposition.
Go ahead, Salman. Let's get your response.
I think, it's laughable. First of all, in 1961, the Supreme Court already weighed in on this idea of bringing in this Article 35A by presidential proclamation. Mr. Mittal should actually do some read up on history. I think what the BJP and the RSS are great at is trying to revise history, and I think that is what is common to all nationalist movements around the world, or not just nationalists. These are kind of right-wing nationalist movements, populist movements. That's what they're trying to do. That is a fundamental thing. I mean, he can say whatever he wants. That's what lies at the heart of this. Now, this special provisions for Jammu and Kashmir are not just for Jammu and Kashmir. There are special provisions of different nature, including of domicile, for other states. Mizoram is there, Nagaland is there, Himachal Pradesh is there. Why is it that the BJP, which is ruling Himachal Pradesh, why does it not go for similar things out there? Because they have a very communal agenda. Their bigotry is well known, and I think that is what bothers them. Now, if the Supreme Court has weighed in on how this was done, this was a historic compromise. You don't go back and completely change what happened when the founders of this country and the people of Jammu and Kashmir came together. And this was a way to assign citizenship rights. Now they want to take those citizenship rights away. The BJP is essentially participating in an anti-national activity. They are actually, this is a direct assault on India itself, and they know it, but they're playing with fire. That is why I said they're playing with fire. This is the same party, by the way. They're very hypocritical people. You have to understand. The people who are watching this television show around the world. No, please let me finish. The people who are watching the show around the world should know one thing about these kinds of supremacist majoritarian parties. I mean, think about the hypocrisy. They fight beef politics in India. Eating beef is not okay in the rest of the country, but eating beef is okay in some parts of the country where they need the votes. Is that true or not? Mr. Mittal cannot disagree with that. So
you are
fundamentally,
lying.
this is the legal, this is the Article 35. I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want to. Mr. Mittal, this is not your regular Times Now or Republic TV. This is not your paid channel. This is an international channel. You must respect. Other people.
You did pose a question to him, though.
Do not interrupt me.
You did pose a question to him, though. To be fair, Salman. But don't worry, we will come back to you. Sudhanshu, do respond.
Mr. Soz, before calling somebody anti-national, I think you ought to be responsible, because if anybody has shown anti-national traits, it's you, your family, and your party.
There you go.
Please, we are debating a legal issue. Do not use that word, because I take serious offense to that. We are debating a legal issue. Let's talk about it. You said 1961 order. Which order, Mr. Soz? I have come prepared with all the orders. You have not shown me any order of 1961. Mere verbosity and false claims do not make your claim right. Now, let me read out the preamble of the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, which was adopted on the 17th November 1956, of which all your leaders were signatories. What did it say? Preamble to the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir is quoted as that. We, the people of state of Jammu and Kashmir, having solemnly resolved in persons of the accession of state of India, which took place.
I just need to interrupt here, because you can say as much as you want that this is about a legal issue, and you can argue your point. But the bottom line is the majority Muslim population in Kashmir does not believe you. They don't feel this is a legal question for you. They feel this is about you bringing a Hindu population into a Muslim majority area. How do you combat that?
Can you imagine that this issue is not being enforced by us? It is the Supreme Court of India, under which jurisdiction we all subject ourselves to, which has to decide the legality of the issue. Where is the government bringing in any legislation to enforce anything of this kind which is being propagated? We have done nothing. The Supreme Court is looking at the legality of the order of 35A. If it holds it to be legal, so be it. If it does not hold it to be legal, so be it. Now, Mr. Soz also talked about beef eating. Does Mr. Soz know that it is his party which had created laws in all the states where it thought beef eating should be banned? It is not BJP. It's your party, Mr. Soz, which created a legislation in UP, in Madhya Pradesh, in Haryana, in Himachal, in all the states, barring Kerala. You are the hypocrites. For then appeasing the Hindus, you were the ones who made the law. We never made the law.
Okay,
and now
Salman.
you're questioning us. You are the ones who decided Kerala would be exempted. You are the one who decided Arunachal will not have it. You are the one who decided West Bengal will not have it.
Let me let Salman respond, because I don't want to make these attacks as personal as they seem to be getting. Salman, let me ask you, I mean, this is, as Sudhanshu is arguing, this is just an issue for the Supreme Court to decide on its legality. Is that fair for the BJP to say?
Look, this is not just a legal issue, this is a political issue. Kashmir, as we know, has been a long-standing political issue. The state of Jammu and Kashmir was brought in to the Indian Union as a result of a lot of negotiations at that time. Mr. Mittal and the BJP and the RSS, which is their parent body, may not know much about that time because they did not participate in India's freedom struggle. But those who did were from the Congress party, and that is why the Constitution came up the way it did and the compromises that had to be made at that time with different groups of people, that was part of the historic nature of those times. And that is where the Congress Party and others were working, and these guys were absent, and now they can say whatever they want, but they were basically absent from the freedom struggle. Now, so it was a political issue. Now they're trying to kind of circumvent a political issue by going with a legal argument. And I'm telling you that in the Lakhanpal case, Mr. Mittal, do read up on it, this presidential proclamation issue has been discussed. Let the Supreme Court come up on, let the Supreme Court kind of come up with a judgment on this as well. But let me tell you that the BJP and the RSS are playing with fire, not just on this issue. On a multitude of issues, they've created a lot of disharmony in India. Every day you will see reports, not just in the Indian media, but also around the world about what is happening in India. There is this totalitarianism
discussing 35A.
Entering our discourse,
We are discussing 35A. We are not into a political dialogue here.
Yes, 35. No, but you see, that is the thing. People of the world and people of India need to understand. You see, Mr. Mittal, with all due respect, you cannot speak over me. This is not Times Now. This is not Republic TV. These are not your paid channels. These are not your paid channels. We have a respectful debate. Please listen, and then you can make your point. Everybody is watching. This is not Republic TV. I'm telling you, this is not your paid channel.
Sudhanshu Mittal, I do have to ask you this, though, because many people are asking,
because people don't know. People have to be told.
Not just Salman is raising this issue, that many Indians are questioning the timing of these efforts, the timing being very poor, because there has been so many protests and so much strife in the region. Why do this now? Why risk creating further potential violent conflict in Kashmir? Why is it so necessary at this time?
What is a matter of Supreme Court's jurisdiction is not something which the government decides or the BJP decides. It is the Supreme Court which decides what litigation is it supposed to undertake and what it is not supposed to undertake. Now, to say now Supreme Court, he may not be believing in the majesty of law or the majesty of Supreme Court, but as a citizen who respects the institutions of India,
the Supreme Court decides on the litigation that's brought before it. At whatever time it is brought before. You've brought this to the Supreme Court now.
No, we never. No, please understand, we are not, neither government of India or BJP is a petitioner in this. So to blame us, I mean, it is so preposterous. Now it's a pack of lies which are just tried to be perpetrated here. Let me just tell Mr. Soz something more which he may not be able to know. You refer to Khetrapal's case. It does not give a judgment on 35A, sir. So don't lie. The world is watching. And if a senior leader of Congress is to lie with impunity, then it's tragic. Instead of winning an argument on the basis of your argument, you want to propound a falsehood, which is least expected out of you. Your father has been a cabinet minister. You have been a very prominent political family. Let's concentrate on the legality. Supreme Court is well within its right to decide whether 35A is a valid legislation or not a valid proclamation order. If it decides it is not, it is not. If it decides that yes, 35A is valid, that's the end of the story. BJP government or BJP party is neither a petitioner nor anything to do with it.
Okay.
Yes,
let me get a quick response from Salman. We just have a few minutes left. Salman, quick response there.
Look, Mr. Mittal may say many nice things about me or my father, but that is besides the point. I thank him for that. But the important thing is this. Everybody knows, it's an open secret, that those who have gone to the Supreme Court have gone at the behest of the RSS and the BJP. This is not a secret at all in the country. Okay, everybody knows. So what they're doing is this is basically linked to their election strategy. They want to demonize Kashmiris. They want to say, we're going to do this. We're going to get rid of Article 370. We're going to get rid of Article 35A. We're going to change the demography of the state. They basically want deep political unrest so that they can convince some people to vote for them in this election. Kashmir is one of their pieces, these pillars of a re-election campaign that, frankly, has gone pretty bad for them Because in the last 1 year, the graph of the BJP has fallen around the country. So now, in desperation, they'll be looking for all sorts of things. This is one of those things. Nobody can say that this is not a political matter. In fact, the former chief minister, Mehbooba Mufti, who was just their ally, they were in government together until just a couple of months back, she says that if Article 35A is scrapped, there will be nobody to carry the Indian flag in Kashmir. That's what she said. Ask them, how do they ally with such people then? The former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Umar Abdullah, has basically come out and said that mainstream politics will be finished out there in J&K. This is what they're playing with. The people who went to the Supreme Court went because of them. They're the instigators. They're the instigators of not just the Kashmir problem right now, the problems in Kashmir right now, but so many problems, from mob lynchings to nationalism. They're basically no different than the white nationalists of America. I can tell you, I'm in Washington, no different than the white nationalists of America.
Sudhanshu, Mittal, final words.
For 16 years,
60 years.
Yeah. And for 16 years, Mr. Soz's party was ruling the center as well as ruling in Kashmir. And Mr. Soz's party was also in alliance with Mehbooba Mufti and also with NC. So you do the crimes and you want to blame us for that? Please go ahead and do it. I mean, there must be an iota of integrity which Mr. Soz and his party must have. You are the criminals. You are the ones who perpetrated. And you talked about Article 370. Sir, 370's starting line is temporary provision with respect to state of Jammu and Kashmir. 370 was never a permanent statute. It was a temporary statute as per the Constitution. You may not have read it.
Sorry,
you may not have
cannot be abrogated.
I have read it. And I have read it all my life. So, Mr. Soz, I thought you were an educated man.
I'm a Kashmiri. I know everything about Article 370. Please don't teach me about Kashmir.
I never thought. Now,
Mr. Mittal, do not teach me about Kashmir. I'm a Kashmiri. So do not teach me about Kashmir. I know much more than you do.
And Sudhanshu Mittal, I'm going to have to interrupt you.
Is this your main
We are completely out of time. In fact, we're over time for this segment of the program.
Supreme Court must decide.
I think we'll check in with both of you as soon as we hear further details on what a potential ruling could entail. I'd like to thank you both so much for joining us on The Newsmakers.